Hi friends, I thought I'd pop into your day today and give you just a little bit of a behind the scenes on what sort of things go on days that we're not filming our Weekly Whim blocks or other projects that we are sharing with you here at A Scrappy Little Joy. You will note that you are in my little backspace, my little area where I sew with you and our friend Jane for our Weekly Whim projects, our Weekly Whim blocks. And you'll note that it's a little bit in disarray. This is a result of yesterday being a filming day. And so what invariably happens, and it really just occurred to me today as I came into this space to sort of tidy up, this is typical. I will do a video and then I will shut lights off and I will go out and do whatever else it is that I'm doing, and I will come back later and tidy up so that I can prepare for the next video that we're going to do. And so this is where I'm left with, just bits and pieces and scraps that go in certain places, but I put things back in a certain configuration. I like all of the rulers, and I've become accustomed to the rulers that I use every time, and they aren't very many, right? Just the few that I love. My little corner trimmer, I love that one. My rotary cutter, I like that to be nice and handy right here. These are about all the rulers that I use, even though I do have an awful lot of rulers in my studio proper. But anyway, so you'll note I've got, my little snippers live under here. My little pencil lives over here. I've got all my little leaders and enders. The ones that are ready to be sewn together are right here. I just tuck those right here. If they're ready to be pressed, you'll see me toss them over here. And these are the ones that just need to be pressed, right? So on a day like today, that will be a project for me. I will get those all pressed and then back under here with the next unit that needs to be sewn together, right? So that's my world back in here. You'll see as we walk out this way, I've got something else I want to share with you on the other side of the studio, but you'll see I share my table with some lights that take up a lot of space. Mr. Woods has ordered something which I am very excited and I hope will be a good solution to this, which will allow me to get my table back, but I'll keep you posted on that. What I wanted to share with you on this side of the world is something going on over here in relationship to this little box this big box that you might remember from my DIY design mat tutorial. This box, first of all, it's fabulous, right? It's a nice big 20-inch piece, and I have wanted a larger design board for some time, but haven't had anything quite this big in a long time. And so I thought to myself, okay, this is something that I can work on and I'll get a piece made for this. Well, just as I was getting ready to cut all the supplies for this project, I walked past this very sad piece of cardboard in the studio, and I decided, you can see this crease right here. It's just inviting itself to be cut for a long design board. And there's a reason for that, and I will share that reason with you when it's finished. Then I can make another one here, right? Anything, any size, whatever square that is. I could make it a rectangle if I wanted to. But I started to realize I have a lot of bits and pieces, and I have a lot of work to do to make those design mats that will then attach to my cardboard for my design board. Then I thought about my friend Jane over here. Jane's over there. My friend Gloria over here. Gloria is my Gamble Statler stitcher. And look what she's working on. She needs fresh bobbin thread, so that's why she's quiet. But I have loaded a quilt sandwich of just a plain white fabric on top so that I can cut my pieces. I don't have to do my machine stitch with my Hera marker. I can just use this sheet and then I can custom cut. So that will help me to make some of these in bulk because I'm using more and more of them in our Weekly Whim series when we are making blocks together. So I want to take you back into the other area of my studio. Mr. Woods works back in here. He's way, way, way in the back, or he might be upstairs. I can't remember. But anyway, so this is my smaller studio, my proper studio, if you will. And remember we talked about rulers that I have? I really do have I really do have more rulers than I need because I really just only use those few. And I'm just being honest with you because I know it's very easy for me to say, oh, I use all these rulers. Look, here's a fussy cut ruler right over here, a little fussy cut ruler. I could be using a little fussy cut ruler. Am I using it? I don't. We talked about how I fussy cut, how I lay it all out. And that's just how it works for me. And so I like to share those little tips with you. The other thing that's going on in this part of my world is this project, which is a little close to my heart. It is a quilt that I am making using the sample fabric for my A Song to Sing fabric collection for Andover Fabric. And I couldn't be more thrilled about this project. I need to get my filler blocks made, my blocks for in between here. And these are just little orphan blocks. These are extra blocks from this project that might wind up on the back of it. But anyway, so that's something that is on my docket to get a little bit done with today's in today's time. But also over here you'll kind of see a little glimpse. I don't want to show you too much because some of that is blocks that you haven't seen. I'm going to scoochie this down so we can talk. I'm sitting in my chair with my friend over here. This is my Janome Continental M8, and I gotta tell you, she doesn't have a name yet. She's been with me for about 1.5 years, and I'm just waiting for her name to occur to me. I don't know what it is. It just has not come to me, and I'm not going to force it. So anyway, I love her. I use her frequently. If I am making a sample block for us for our Weekly Whim, or for other projects that I'm working on, maybe patterns. If I'm writing a pattern and I need to know exact measurements and stuff like that, or I'm making a sample quilt, I'm usually sitting here. And the reason for that is I will share a link down in the description of this video for a blog post that I wrote some time ago called something like My Grand Stand to Sew Experiment. Okay, and so what that will tell you is that I used to stand to sew similarly to how I sew when we work together with Jane. But I have since changed my practices and I now sit to sew. And so that's an interesting article. I try to sit as much as possible if I'm going to be sewing for a long period of time. So what I'm doing here today is I have committed, you guys know, I think we've talked about my orphan block stash. I've committed that if I'm making a portion of a block, I'm just going to share these with you while we're talking, a portion of a block that is something that I'm writing. Oh, this is one of our Weekly Whim blocks. I had an extra one of that. Then I am making a full block. I will make the portion that I need to check the measurements on, but I am making the full block because I have a really hard time. Oh, look how cute this one is. This is one of my favorites. Isn't that great? Oh, look, it matches me today in my little turquoise top. Anyway, so I'm committed to making the whole block because I know if I put a little half square triangle or 2 or 12 into a bin, I'm never making anything from that project. So I'm doing myself the favor of saying, here is a whole pretty block to inspire you, Pam. Here's another one, right? Here's another one. Sooner or later, this stack is going to get so big. So what I'm working on today is, in addition to this, is when I make blocks for our Weekly Whim, as I said, we usually make 2. I always make 2. So I'll make the sample block, which is what I show you at the beginning of our video. And then I'll make the block during the video when we're sewing together, right? So I'm always going to have 2 of each Weekly Whim block. What isn't apparent is that frequently I wind up halfway through the video, a quarter of the way through the video, 3/4 of the way video, all the way through the video, and something has gone wrong. Something has gone awry with the camera, with me, or something I've forgotten to do or share or whatever. And I realize I'm starting over. And so I will invariably have multiple iterations, at least multiple steps done of the blocks. Yesterday what happened, we had one of the cameras failed. I was halfway through. So I called Mr. Woods in, and he tackled that, and I cut the pieces again because I had already gotten halfway through the block. And so then I started again, right? And I had all the parts ready. But then I had all these bits left that I had already started. So again, my commitment to myself is to make sure all of these blocks, all of these little units become blocks as well, so that they can inspire me. So that's another thing that I do on my off day when I am not filming or preparing a block for the next up Weekly Whim or anything else. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that that was interesting and informative to you guys, and I hope that you kind of get a vibe for everything that I'm doing here in the world. Mr. Woods is usually back over there processing orders or upstairs working on the books. You know, he's in his office. He's got two offices. He's got one in the way back and then one upstairs as well. But anyway, it's just the two of us here most days with our little puppy dogs and our two cats, and they live upstairs, as you know. So this is just a little part of my world today that I thought I would share with you, and what I'm going to be doing for my next today and probably throughout the weekend with other Weekly Whim things added in there. So anyway, I'll see you next time. I hope that was fun for you.